He won the US Open, he led from the first round to the last, and he spent the entire week being booed by his own country's crowd, accused of cheating, and dissected frame by frame on social media over one drop on one hole. Wyndham Clark just captured the second major of his career at Shinnecock Hills, and instead of celebrating a champion, half the golf world spent the week calling him a fraud. Now he has responded. Here's the full story. The golf was never the problem. That is the strange thing about this entire story. Wyndham Clark played 4 rounds of brilliant, controlled, dominant golf at one of the most punishing courses on the planet. He led the 2026 US Open from the opening day. He carried a 6-shot cushion into Sunday over a group that included world number 1 Scottie Scheffler. He held his nerve on a Shinnecock Hills setup designed specifically to make players crack. By any measure of the actual sport, it was a masterclass, and almost nobody wanted to talk about it. What they wanted to talk about happened on Saturday, on the 17th hole, during the 3rd round. Clark, comfortably in control of the championship, pulled his tee shot well left into the thick fescue. The ball came to rest beside a camera stand, a temporary immovable obstruction. Under the rules of golf, a player whose ball or stance is affected by such an obstruction is entitled to free relief, a drop away from the interference. This is not a gray area. This is a clearly defined entitlement that every professional in the field would have claimed in the same position. But the way the relief unfolded is what set the internet on fire. Clark removed loose grass from around the area, which the rules permit, since loose impediments can be moved before a drop. He then dropped the ball, and it rolled back toward the camera stand. He dropped it a second time, and again it rolled back into the interference zone. Under the rules, when a ball dropped twice fails to stay in the relief area, the player is permitted to place it. So Clark placed the ball, now sitting on a clean playable lie, and went on to chip onto the green and save par. A USGA rules official monitored the entire process from start to finish. Clark broke no rules, not one. The relief was legitimate, the loose impediment removal was legal, and the placing of the ball after 2 drops failed to settle was exactly what the rulebook prescribes. And yet the clip, shared by golf accounts across social media, ignited an immediate firestorm. Quick pause. If you think Wyndham Clark did absolutely nothing wrong and simply used the rules available to every player, type "no rules broken" in the comments. If you think the optics were genuinely bad regardless of the technicalities, type "looked terrible." I read every single one. The accusations came fast, and they came ugly. Fans claimed he had intentionally dropped the ball in a way that guaranteed it would roll back, manufacturing the right to place it on a perfect lie. One viral post accused him of purposely dropping it back toward the camera tower so he could place it on a tuft of grass. Another called the drop criminal. The phrase "going full lawn care service" started trending in golf circles. The criticism was not just that he had received a fortunate ruling. It was that he had engineered it, that he had gamed the system in plain sight at the biggest tournament of the year. To understand why the reaction was so severe, you have to understand that this did not happen in a vacuum. Wyndham Clark arrived at Shinnecock carrying a reputation that the crowd had already decided to punish. At the 2025 US Open at Oakmont, after missing the cut, Clark damaged a locker in the clubhouse, an incident that drew significant criticism and a reported ban from the club. Before that, at Bay Hill in 2024, he was scrutinized for repeatedly shoving his club behind the ball in heavy rough in a way that some analysts, including Brandel Chambly, felt may have improved his lie and possibly caused the ball to move. The 17th hole at Shinnecock was not a first offense in the eyes of his critics, it was a pattern. And so the crowd, primed by history, turned on him with a viciousness rarely seen at a major championship. He was booed, loudly, persistently, throughout the week. Fans heckled him as he played his way to one of the most dominant US Open performances in recent memory. One incident of fan abuse was described as disgusting by observers. Broadcaster Dan Patrick called the booing embarrassing. Golf Monthly described the behavior as nothing short of a disgrace. The man was winning a major championship by a huge margin and being treated like a villain by the very people who paid to watch him. So how did Clark respond? This is where the story turns, because his response was not defiant, and it was not arrogant. It was measured, self-aware, and notably more conciliatory than anyone expected from a player under that kind of attack. Speaking about the incident, Clark acknowledged that the optics had been poor. He admitted that he would now have to be a little more conscious of not putting the club down as much, recognizing that he plays under a microscope and that what he did, while legal, looked bad on camera. He pointed out that he had been laying up regardless, arguing that he did not believe he had genuinely enhanced his position in a way that changed the hole. But crucially, he conceded the appearance was the problem. He said he did not want there to be any question that he was trying to do anything that looked like cheating, or anything illegal, and that going forward he would be more aware of the optics, making sure they did not suggest he was doing something wrong. At the same time, he did not fully back down on the substance. He noted that he had been doing what he did for years, that no one had ever called him out on it before, and that he was not necessarily going to change the fundamentals of how he plays. The message was layered. I broke no rules, I will keep playing my game, but I understand how it looked, and I will be more careful about appearances. It was the response of a man who knew he was right on the rules and wrong on the perception, and was trying to address both at once. That nuance is the entire story of Wyndham Clark. He is, by the actual laws of the sport, completely innocent here. Every credible golf analyst confirmed that he broke no rules at Shinnecock. The relief was legitimate, the drop procedure was correct. The placing of the ball was mandated by the rulebook. A USGA official supervised the whole thing. If you remove the history and the crowd and the social media mob, what you have is a player taking legal relief and a championship that was never in any genuine doubt. But golf is not only a game of rules, it is a game of etiquette, of perception, of a certain unwritten code about how a champion is supposed to conduct himself. And Clark, fairly or not, has repeatedly found himself on the wrong side of that unwritten code. The locker at Oakmont, the rough at Bay Hill, the drop at Shinnecock, each one technically defensible or already punished, but collectively forming an image that a large portion of the golf audience has decided to reject. The deeper question this whole saga raises is about the gap between the professional game and the everyday golfer. Several fans pointed out that tour professionals seem to receive rules flexibility that would never apply on a normal public course, that the entitlements and reliefs available at the highest level can look like loopholes to the weekend player who would simply have to hack the ball out of the fescue and accept the consequences. Clark became the lightning rod for that frustration, even though he was only doing what the rules of his sport explicitly allow. In the end, he got the last word in the only way that truly matters in professional golf. He won. He absorbed 4 days of heckling, accusations, and abuse, and he still walked off the 18th green at Shinnecock Hills as the US Open champion for the second time in his career. The boos did not break him, the accusations did not derail him. The pressure of leading wire to wire at a brutal major while the crowd actively rooted against him did not crack his game. And his response to the cheating allegations, that careful balance of standing by the legality of his actions while acknowledging the poor optics, may be the most mature thing he has done in a career defined by emotional highs and lows. He did not lash out, he did not play the victim. He admitted the appearance was bad, committed to being more careful, and defended his fundamental innocence on the rules. For a player so often criticized for his temperament, it was a genuinely measured response to a genuinely brutal week. Wyndham Clark is a two-time major champion. The record book will say he won the 2026 US Open at Shinnecock Hills. It will not record the booing, the accusations, or the 17th hole, but the golf world will remember all of it, and how Clark chose to respond to it tells you as much about who he is as the trophy ever could. If this gave you the full picture behind the controversy, drop a like before you scroll away. It tells the algorithm to push this to other golf fans following the story. And subscribe, because there is always another chapter coming.